So, good evening, everybody. Yeah, it's me, Ed McKinley, on the East Coast, here near Boston in Massachusetts, and this is StudentLoanJustice.org live stream Thursday evening, 9/17/2020, and things are heating up as you can hear. And we're not going to back down. I can tell you that right now. So we've got to. I'm not going to. I'm not panicked. I'm not panicking. But you can hear in the background that things are really heating up in the fight. There's a lot going on. I can only stay briefly because earlier I think I saw Nancy DeVos in a Black Hawk helicopter, and she looked angry. She looked like she was very unhappy, and to be honest with you, I don't think she is a really happy person. So listen, there's three things, and they're all kind of interrelated, that are driving a lot of good energy in our direction. And but as you can see, I mean, we're swamped with opposition, so we need more people. We need reinforcements. We do have a great crew of people here who are taking this seriously and taking the bull by the horns, but we need more. The one thing stopping us from driving the ball over the goal line is numbers, folks. It's not even about, as I've said before, educating your legislators on what exactly is going on, because if they understood, they would help us. That's old. That's debunked. They all know exactly what's going on with the student lending system. Wow, that guy really got it. Yeesh. They all know what's going on with the student lending system, but we have not given them enough reason. When they sit there and say, "Oh, 50 million people are caught in this trap," and we're not hearing a lot from them. So, we want to get reelected. We're going to pay attention to the things that people are making a lot of noise about. And these guys are making a lot of noise. But they're the good guys. These are the good guys fighting the bad guys. Don't be mistaken. So we've really been pounding this petition thing. And I'm going to see if I can get these guys to quiet down. We've really been pounding this petition thing to the point of almost insanity. And I just want to point out the proof to folks. If you've been following our Facebook stream, and I hope you do, there are increasing numbers of articles popping up in publications in all different sorts of places in this country. And they didn't get there by accident. It wasn't entirely organic. Some reporter in Mississippi or other places that have had their major publications formulate and publish very favorable articles to our position, have been the result of members of our group sending, in many cases, just simply sending them the link to our petition and saying, "Hey, this is what we're doing." As you can see, we got about 600,000 signatures so far. This is something that is even more relevant than ever, with everything that's going on with the uncertainty about the economy. In fact, you might have seen today, Liz Warren, Chuck Schumer, and maybe another band of unmentionables calling for up to $50,000 cancellation loans. Yeah, it's a huge pile of bullshit, actually, and I suggest strongly that you read what Art Allen Collins had to say about that proposal today. But let me tell you something. For as long as we can push and keep the awareness that this system is a broken, predatory, corrupt system that is helping to tank the economy, as long as even if Schumer and Warren are completely full of crap, which they very well may be, I don't know, but they're out there and they're putting our case on the table and off of the fringe of the floor. We need to be able to get as much attention to this cause as we possibly can. And I can tell you this because I scan whatever is out there, and I think probably other people do too. While we need a lot more in press and other media, what we do generate in articles that are positive to what we are doing here in the fight we are fighting outnumber the negative ones. And there are some negative ones. There's one recently you might have seen on our page. There's some very toxic crap still being spewed out there. And we can't just counterweight it. We have to dwarf it if possible. And, a lot of times people will say, well, that sounds like an awfully lofty, grandiose goal. But is it? Is it lofty and grandiose when out of the 50 million borrowers in this country, 25 to 30 at least are in or near default, and another 10 or 15 million are in distress, and watching their balances multiply almost exponentially through the miracle of capitalized loans and capitalized interest and usurious fees? No, if you didn't believe that, you wouldn't be here because you've seen it. You see it on your own stuff. $50,000 cancellation for me. I don't even know what that would do for me at this point. Yeah, if somebody came up to me and said, "Well, what we're going to do is we're going to start the clock at the amount of money you actually borrowed, and then we're going to apply $50,000 toward that, or less if the amount is less." And in my case, it is. That's what I actually borrowed. And if that happened with everybody, it'd be a little tastier, but I got to be honest with you, there's still going to be way too many people's ass hanging out the door. And, it is not advisable or safe to settle for solutions that will be a repair for a portion of our membership, and the risk of leaving the door open for future exploitation being easily reset. If we can't make certain fundamental changes, if the debt does not go away in its entirety, and the laws and the structure, very basic structure of the lending system doesn't undergo some very significant changes, then any victories that we win right now would have a somewhat hollow sound to them. But I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining that those guys are out there pumping their chests and walking around going, "We need to cancel student loans and stuff." And because, they're right in that message, and we need people to hear that. But we need to strengthen the message. We need to make sure it's clearer to the people out there that are saying the same thing I just said. Well, yeah, okay, so if they say they're going to forgive $50,000 up to $50,000, and that's, keep in mind, an awful lot of people do not fully understand the depth of deception that is inherent upon some of these proposals. As Alan wrote earlier today, this is something you always got to keep in mind. Up to $50,000 with implications that there would be certain criteria that would need to be met, and that the facilitator or whatever of any decisions or any leeway that exists in the law will remain with the Department of Education, which is kind of like saying, well, we're sorry that the Boston Strangler strangled all those people, but we're really short-handed right now. Would you mind if we left him to take care of a few people at your house tonight until we can get someone else to fill in? I don't know. It's been a long day. So, folks, please believe in the little things that we really pound on people to do. If you have any doubt that these things work, it's really been a very solid but relatively proportionately small number of people who have really been sending out this link to reporters and others, and we still have results that will continue to have an impact. And the more we grow it, obviously, the more leverage we have. This is important, and this is a fight. This is not a spectator sport. If you came here to observe and uh, whatever's going on here, and yet your leg and arm and lip is caught in the same trap as the rest of us, uh, I just assume you move on. To be perfectly honest with you, I'm sorry if that hurts anybody's feelings, but we need people of action here. I'd rather have 1,000 people all taking action than 15,000 people with only a couple hundred of them really working this thing. And making progress, if I might add. So I don't know why, if you're not picking up the phones, if you're not posting links to the petition or sending this information to local newspapers and other media in your area or nationally or anywhere you want, if you're not taking action to send this material to the people that we asked you to do this on a certain day, I'm sorry, you are part of the problem. No one else is fighting this for us. I wouldn't normally say that, but there is no legitimate body of people fighting this fight for us. That I can assure you as an absolute fact. Now, there may be some astroturf groups out there that certainly appear, not by accident, to be strong proponents of what it is we're fighting for. But folks, I've been doing this a long time. I've been behind the curtain, in front of the curtain, next to the curtain. One day I think I was the curtain. And, after a while, it gets a lot easier to smell the bullshit before you step in it. And I stepped in a lot of it because I had no idea, none whatsoever, how corrupt things like this could really be and how deeply entrenched they could be. But I also know this, that no matter how deep this thing reaches, no matter how corrupt it is, if enough of you begin to take 10 minutes, 15 minutes, maybe even more at some point, to take an action each day towards resolving this, we will overwhelm the opposition at some point. No other outcome is possible. None. We have the argument. We have a sledgehammer, indefensible argument. And we can back up every word we say with irrefutable evidence. So, if you need anything more than that, just to top it off, 7 or 8 months ago, the guy that was appointed by the Department Secretary DeVos and Donald Trump to run the whole student loan portfolio resigned and said the same thing. I mean, you can't make that up. Now, obviously, that hasn't gotten the attention that it deserves. So that's up to us. If you want to look up articles on A. Wayne Johnson and the specificity that he used and how deranged and twisted this system is, and how necessary it will be to do major, massive, significant loan cancellation, was the only fair and equitable way to put this dead horse to sleep and to its final resting place. Share that with anybody that's a doubter out there. Anybody out there who says, you're full of, this, you just want a free ride. Well, look, there might even be some legitimate people out there that they're just the kind that think they know things they don't. Maybe they had a car loan, or maybe they borrowed $5 from a buddy to buy a draft beer one night. So they become experts in lending. I understand that. You and I have found out the hard way that student loans are not subject to the protections that other consumer credit in this country is guaranteed. And the reason other consumer debt instruments are covered with those protections is to prevent exploitation of the borrowers. So what happens when you take those protections away from what has now become the largest consumer debt instrument in the country, next to only mortgages? It's bigger than automobiles. It's bigger than credit card debt. It's big. It's really, really, really big. This is a massive part of the United States economy stagnating, and what money does flow through goes into the pockets of the people who designed the system to begin with. you're seeing nothing. I mean, this is the only loan I've ever heard of that if you pay it, it doesn't go down. If you don't pay it, it doesn't go down. It really doesn't seem to matter. So, continuing to push, we got to get this petition up over 1 million. I mean, we're getting attention, but we're not getting attention of the size that we want. We'll take anything you got. Your weekly paper in a small town wants to do an article on student loan debt. I'll talk to them. Alan Collins would talk to them. You can talk to them yourself if you feel comfortable. But the point is, we'll talk to anybody who wants to listen and who is in a position to amplify our voices to the general public, because it's the only way that we can do that. We don't have the money to just go out and buy massive ads in papers. This is what grassroots looks like. So that's it for me tonight. I'm staying well under the 20-minute mark. And just in case you were worried, all the firing sounds and stuff in the beginning were just sound effects. That wasn't really happening. Like I said, it's been a long day. But so just to summarize real quickly, spreading the link to this petition helps us leverage and open doors that we need to be able to leverage and open in order to elevate our voices, in order to get the attention we need, in order to get the message out there. What we have done so far has proven beyond a shadow of a doubt to be effective. We need to turn up the volume. And that's where every single person who's heard this, hearing this now, or hearing the recording afterwards, needs to be doing. If you're serious about saving your financial future, and at this point, unfortunately, very likely your children's financial future, and there may now be cases where your children's children are facing trying to go to college and trying to avoid getting their legs snapped off in this trap. So if you need more motivation than that, then maybe this isn't the place for you. But if you fully understand the weight of what this entire thing is about, it shouldn't be that difficult to spend 15, 20 minutes a day, check in with our Facebook page, see what's going on, what are we doing, what do we need people, word do we need people putting out that day. And there'll be other things we'll be doing, but that right now is the most powerful thing we can do based against the reality of the situation with elections, pandemic, economic uncertainty, and so on. This is something that we could conceivably end this fight before November 3rd. And, whether that's a long shot or a realistic goal or not, I don't know. But I know that if we don't set certain goals and certain objectives, then we're not going to go anywhere. So that's my hope. Right now, I'm still hoping that we can and will, in fact, reach our ultimate objective before November 3rd. But keep this in mind. If we shoot for that target and we get close but we miss, we will still be closer, much closer than we were to a resolution, either way. So I'm Ed McKinley out here in Boston area, Massachusetts, and I'm just a regular bozo here on the bus that, comes out a couple nights a week, more than any other reason, try and give Alan a break. If possible, if I can educate, inform, and or inspire anybody here, one person, 5 people, 20 people, I feel like it's well worth my time. Wishing everybody a good night. I know there's a lot of other bad stuff going on in this country right now. Really literal disasters that are got to be weighing heavily on people that either are members or are prospective members of this group. And I guess I don't have any magic words or anything, but other than to say, I'm just hoping that for the best safety and well-being for everyone out there being impacted by the fires in California, the hurricanes and flooding down south, pandemic. I've been on the planet for over half a century, and at least in my time, there's been a lot of crazy things, but it just seems like this is more than we've had to bear. And let's take this issue off each other's shoulders. Because you know as well as I do that to resolve this debt and make it right size and to establish a fair and just resolution will absolutely take a lot of the weight off your shoulders while you're dealing with some other issues that may be very important to each of you too. So everyone, thank you, and good night.